way up high, and the dreams that you dream of once in a lullaby. Oh, somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly. Dreams that you dream of, dreams really do come true. Ooh, someday you wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind. Be where trouble melts like lemon drops, high above the chimney top. That's where you find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, and the dream that you dare to, oh why can't I?
Family and friends, just a gentle reminder, if you have a mobile phone, could you please place it on silent for the duration of our ceremony? Thank you. We are here today to pay tribute and to share in the memories and to celebrate the life of Celia Mary Ascroft. My name is Gaynor Cobby and I'm your celebrant. On behalf of White Lady Funerals and myself, I'd like to offer you Celia's lovely family and friends who are joining us here today, and family and friends who may be joining us through live streaming, our condolences. Sometimes there are no words of comfort that I can offer when you are faced with the loss of a loved one. I think sometimes the only thing that you can do is be a lovely support to each other. Possibly a hug, a kiss, sometimes just a lovely phone call brings a little tiny bit of comfort to people when you are feeling that loss or that sadness. There'll be so many lovely memories of Celia come back to you over the years. A lovely song, a kind word, an echo of laughter that rekindles all those lovely memories. Today we're here together in an act of unity to speak Celia's name, to remember that she has lived. Grief takes on so many different forms. Of course, we grieve for those that we have lost, opportunities in a person's life that we may have missed out on. We also possibly grieve if we didn't get to say everything that we wanted to say. So let us always try and take those opportunities with those that we love, to laugh, to cry, and to certainly celebrate with them. I'd like to take this opportunity to invite Sally to come forward. Thank you, Sally.
I don't think I can look at you, so apologies if I only look down. My mum, Celia, was a source of strength, love and wisdom to us all. On behalf of David, my dad, and our family, we thank you for your kind expressions of sympathy and for joining us today here and online to celebrate Celia's life. My name is Sally and I'm Celia's daughter, and I'm here to share some background and memories of Mum. Mum was a devoted mother to 3 children and their partners, my older brother Sean and Nicola, myself and my husband Chris, and my younger brother Simon and his wife Jane. She has 6 wonderful grandchildren, Hannah, Harry, Sammy, Ben and Alex, who are here today, and Tom, who is joining us online from London. Her role as a grandmother brought her immense joy and fulfilment. She showered her 6 grandchildren with love, and they adored her in return. She was there to watch them grow, celebrate birthdays, attend school events, play sport, and provide the kind of unwavering support that only a grandmother can offer. When I went back to work after 4 months maternity leave, she spent every Wednesday afternoon caring for my children, Sammy in bed, and she cherished every minute of that alone time. Mum was certainly unimpressed that she didn't yet have any great-grandchildren, but was excited that 2 of her grandchildren were finally engaged to be married. We will miss her at Hannah and Nick's wedding in January and Sammy and Isaac's wedding in 2025. Celia was born in January 1937 in Loughborough, England, to Lillian and Sydney Bland, the youngest of 3 girls. Her parents were active in the community and worshipped at Holy Trinity Church. Her father was a well-known bowler, being honorary secretary and president of Loughborough Granby Bowling Club, instilling in Mum a love of bowling, which she enjoyed playing with the Clara Golf Club ladies team. With her sisters, Eileen and Gwen, Mum grew up in the family home in White House Avenue, Loughborough, a red brick terrace in a street of red brick terraces. She attended Shelthorpe Junior School and in 1947 went to Loughborough High School, winning a scholarship from Leicester County Council. From all accounts, Mum had a happy childhood, being described in her school reports as high-spirited and often talkative. She enjoyed hockey and netball during high school, was a form captain, a games captain, a flower monitress, so we've got some beautiful flowers to remember her today, and stationery monitress. This later position no doubt being a foundation for her career as an office manager and secretary for more than 30 years with the Life Agency. I was always impressed that Mum learnt shorthand, which at times proved problematic when none of us could understand what she wrote. According to Freddie Elderton, this was a good thing, as when Jeff Hudson took over the Life Agency business in 1986 and said he couldn't read Celia's writing, Freddie's response was, "Well, that's good, Jeff. If the tax man calls, he won't be able to read the account books either." After serving his 2 years in the National Service in Austria, playing rugby and skiing, my dad arrived in Loughborough in September 1951 at the age of 21 to attend Loughborough College, which at that time offered a teacher's course in physical education. It's no surprise that Dad fell in love with Celia shortly after arriving. Mum was 15, still at school and quite beautiful. We will hear from Dad later about his memories of courting Mum and their married life together. Dad finished college, moved away to Wakefield, and for the next 3 years dated Mum long distance. He established the motorcycle helmet division for Slasingers, his brother-in-law's business. And as Dad said, this was fantastic. I could go anywhere and had all expenses paid and always finished in Loughborough to spend the weekend with Celia. In 1957, Mum and Dad married at Holy Trinity Church, Loughborough, where her father was a chorister and the church warden. 2 months later, they were off on an adventure to Australia with Slasingers, never expecting that it would become their permanent home. It was tough being so far from loved ones in the 1950s and 60s. No mobile phones, no email, no social media, no regular flights back home. Mum was intensely homesick for England and wrote lengthy letters home to her family and Dad's family. She kept many of the letters from her sister Eileen, who she was very close to, and letters from her mother, the year Lillian passed away with cancer, aged 64. Lillian loved the letters and photos Mum sent. In one letter, Lillian wrote from the hospital to Mum that on showing the photos to the nurses, they said, "Isn't your daughter like you?" So she told the nurse that was a compliment, as Celia was considered nice looking. Mum and Dad's 67-year marriage was an enduring testament to Mum's unwavering love for Dad, her commitment to our family and her spirit of adventure. Mum was steadfast in her love for Dad. She was determined to remain at home with Dad, and although sadly she did spend the last 6 months at Copwa in Roseville, we were grateful for their wonderful care. When I visited, she was always so proud to introduce me as her daughter, the lawyer. I think this was really because she thought I was there to break her out. Despite the dementia, she knew Dad was home, and every night from the nursing home she would ring Dad to come and collect her from the golf club or the life agency. She clearly loved her time working at the life agency, as she still thought she worked there, and had started to seek my views about whether after 40 years loyal service now may be a good time to retire. Most of our childhood was spent living in Glen Eagles Avenue, Kalara. Mum gave us the freedom to ride our bikes, homemade go-karts and skateboards in the streets, roam the creek in our neighbours' houses, light amazing bonfires in the backyard and set off firecrackers, although she quickly regretted this when the neighbours complained about exploding letterboxes. Do you want to just let her go? Sorry. Come here, sit down. Sit. Sorry. Mum had many friends, too many to mention. It's been lovely for us to receive so many warm messages from her friends and family, and it's really nice that some of them are able to be here today, like Margie Gillings, beautiful, lovely to see you, and Jeff Hudson and many others, and online Auntie Weeda and Auntie Gwen. She would have been delighted with the kind words that remembered Mum, full of warmth and fun, happy times shared, nights out for dinner, trips away, at the snow, playing golf or bowls. For me, I have fond memories of lazy Sunday mornings, cuddling with Mum in her bed, with cups of tea and reading the newspaper. Mum spending hours polishing the antique brass kettle, lamp and bell that sat in front of the fireplace, and ironing every night whilst watching I Dream of Jeannie and Bewitched on television. And having my face lathered with thick, gooey Elizabeth Arden 8-hour cream when I spent too long at the beach with Jenny Gillings and came home with sunburn. I loved the bunny rabbit costume Mum made me when I was 4. I never took it off, thinking I looked so fantastic. I will never forget when I was 10, we nearly didn't make our flight to London on our first family overseas trip. We had to go back home to get Mum's shoes. She'd been so focused on all of us, she'd forgotten she was still wearing her slippers. I fell in love with the grand piano at Powerscourt on that trip, and remember when we returned, Mum selling her full-length Fox coat she had worn overseas for $200 to buy me a second-hand piano. She was so proud that I nearly passed grade 4, that she kept my exam assessment all these years, perhaps the only D I have ever got. Mum was always elegant on the ski slopes, my favourite outfit being her fuchsia all-in-one ski suit. And I was delighted when in Switzerland she bought me a buttercup yellow ski suit, and Simon, my brother, a matching powder blue one. I thought we were so cool, pigtails and all. I have a special memory of trekking in Nepal with Mum as we celebrated her 50th birthday halfway up a mountain with local gin and a birthday cake cooked over a fire. I thank Mum for her Greta Anna cookbook phase and teaching me to make Grand Marnier souffle, and those years being spoiled with delicious treats. I'm sure they were a bribe for eating the overcooked keys and frozen carrots. I fondly recall sitting at the kitchen bench every morning before school with Sean, Simon and Dad, while Mum made us the most perfect poached eggs on toast. Aside from Dad and our family, Mum's other love and soft spot was for animals, as you can see today. She had a dog, Paddy, as a child, and growing up we had many dogs, including the beautiful Labrador Snoopy. She took great delight when Hannah visited her in the nursing home with her very large golden retriever, Fletcher. And during COVID, she loved cuddling with Dad and their dog Sophie on the couch watching TV. And of course, Sophie is here with us today and also got a chance to go to the hospital and farewell Mum. Mum was a beautiful, loyal, strong and loving woman who inspired me in many ways. She taught me how to be respectful, honest, responsible and courageous. She encouraged me to follow my dreams. Though we are heartbroken by her absence, we find comfort in knowing she is now at peace, watching over us from above. Mum, you will be deeply missed, but never forgotten. Love you, Mum.
Thank you so much, Sally, for taking us on a journey through Mum's life and sharing with us all here today. I'd like to invite Simon to come forward. Thank you, Simon.
So you nearly passed your grade 4 music exam. That means you failed. Sally failed. Well, Mum, not a lot has changed in the past 2 weeks since you left. After 14 months in Philadelphia, Sammy still hasn't started her MBA because she's always travelling, most recently in Peru on the Inca Trail. Harry's in his favourite place, on the bench. Sorry, that's a football joke. I was going to say Sally is late to everything, even her own speech, but she was actually here first today, which is an absolute miracle. And Sean is still putting the final touches to his production to End All Productions, which we'll see very soon. Dad asked me just after Mum died what my favourite memories were of her. I paused. There are so many. How could I pick just one or two? After thinking about it over the past 2 weeks, I hope I can cram all the good ones into the next 60 minutes. Only kidding, 45 at most. We had a great life growing up in Glen Eagles Avenue in Killara. Great neighbours. Some are here today, which is fantastic to see. And they've been friends for life. I fondly remember the many dinner parties hosted by Mum, some of them cheese fondue parties, Christmas get-togethers, and Mum sitting by the pool with Anne Luchars drinking martinis while Andrew, Ian and I swam for hours on end. Okay, maybe they weren't martinis, but definitely a few gin and tonics were consumed. As a child, I was a latchkey kid. For as long as I can remember, Mum worked at the Life Agency. She would generally come home around 4:30pm. I was meant to be doing homework, but often just watching TV. Usually Gilligan's Island, Get Smart, Hogan's Heroes, or Happy Days. If Mum caught me, and sometimes she did, I was in big trouble. Wait till your father gets home. So as soon as I heard a car pull up in the garage, I had to time it perfectly to turn off the TV and rush upstairs to my room and pretend I was doing my homework. Sally, of course, was already doing her homework and guarding her precious Derwent pencils that I wasn't allowed to touch. Clearly, though, she wasn't practising hard enough for her grade 4 piano exam. Mum was a great cook. I love Mum's cooking. She made the most amazing mince pies at Christmas time, still the best in my opinion. Sorry, Jane. Crispy schnitties and veal cordon bleu, apple pie with homemade custard, crepe Suzette and creme brulee, and twice-cooked fried chicken. Yes, twice cooked. It's no wonder I had a heart attack earlier this year. I also remember Mum being very active. Yoga, cooking, dressmaking, and even pottery classes. She loved playing bridge, golf, and in latter years bowls. Throughout her life, she also loved skiing. Introduced to skiing by Dad in 1957, they started married life together with a 2-week honeymoon in Innsbruck. As they say, the rest is history. We were lucky enough to be dragged to the snow every year, and from that sprung a nearly 50-year association with Dalmeisten Ski Club, where we've had some very memorable ski holidays. In addition to her impeccable fashion style, she also had great style and grace on the slopes. While she happily watched the grandkids play sport, as Sally said, when it came to my sport, one thing has perplexed me all my life. In over 20 years, she rarely watched me play rugby, and to this day, I don't know why. Where Dad is a risk-taker, outgoing, confident, and always the optimist, Mum was more conservative, quiet, cautious, and sometimes a little bit of a pessimist. But that made them the perfect couple, like Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, although I've never seen Dad dance. Mum kept us all grounded, always the pragmatist. Her demeanour was soft and welcoming. She was, as many people have said to me over the past couple of weeks, nice. Her face radiated warmth. It was calming, reassuring. She wasn't loud or boisterous. How could she be with Dad and the rest of the family who are so dominating? Often she sat back and listened, absorbing what was going on around her, perhaps content in the life she had established with Dad here in Australia, and proud and blessed of the family she had created. 3 children, 6 grandchildren, and numerous pets along the way. She wasn't perfect though. As the 3rd child, I was naturally subject to the most discipline, with Mum and Dad learning the mistakes from Sean. Sean was a ratbag. Sally, of course, was perfect and could do no wrong, except her grade 4 music exam. Most of the time, Mum was always relatively calm. I rarely heard her swear, except when it came to Sean. Sean had a gift of winding Mum up. One night, she had enough. She plated his dinner and then lost it. In one fluid motion, she picked up the plate, turned and threw his dinner at his head. Sean was onto it, laughing as he ducked. It hit the brick wall behind him. The plate smashed into 100 pieces and green peas went everywhere. Thank goodness it wasn't the schnitty. Sean later came back from the dark side and has been an angel ever since. Notwithstanding, good manners, including table manners, were extremely important to Mum. How we behaved at home and in public was also important. Be a good person and be careful what you say. Hate, she said, was a strong word. Think before you use it in a sentence. Be conscious of the tone of your voice. What you think you sound like is not what other people always hear. She also said, don't embarrass yourself. I remember one occasion. It was intervarsity skiing, 1985 in Mount Hotham. I fell in the giant slalom, lost my ski, and in my frustration, I hurled my ski pole 20 metres. Very uncharacteristic of me, I know. Unbeknown to me, ABC TV were doing a story for the 7 p.m. news and were positioned, coincidentally, in the same spot where I fell. When I rang home later that night and said, "Hi, Mum," she immediately said, "That was disgraceful behaviour. I saw you on TV." I was stunned and highly embarrassed. Sadly, for the last few years, Mum dementia got progressively worse, most notably from a memory perspective. However, dementia has its upside. Birthdays, for example. The last couple of birthdays, I've made a small fortune. Mum would ask, "Oh, is it your birthday?" "Why, yes, it is, Mum." "Did we get you a present?" "Well, actually, no, you didn't, but cash will do." 30 seconds later, "Is it your birthday?" "Why, yes, it is, Mum." "Did we get you a present?" "Well, no, you didn't, but cash will be fine." This year, I upped the ante. "Dad, you owe me an Aston Martin." Mum promised. The only stipulation from Mum was that it could only be yellow. I don't care, I'll take it. Thank you, Mum, for all the memories. Look at the dog. Thank you for all the memories and your unconditional love. Thank you to you and Dad for instilling the joy of skiing into my life, which I've thoroughly enjoyed passing on to my beautiful boys, Tom and Alex. Whenever I go skiing, I'll always think of you, and I promise I won't throw my ski poles anymore. But most likely it'll be the small things that remind me of you. Roses, gardening, bridge, cups of milky tea, falling asleep in front of the TV, and my messy handwriting. Or small habits like scrunching my serviette or hanky, as Jane reminds me constantly, "That's just like your Mum." I'm sure we've all got our own memories of Mum. Cherish them. I will. Rest in peace, Mum. Love you.
Thank you so much, Simon, for your lovely memories and sharing them today. I'd now like to invite Sammy to come forward. Thanks, Sammy.
Good afternoon. My name is Sammy, and I am the child of Sally and Chris, and the grandchild of David and Celia. And today I'd like to read you Psalm 23, which was actually sung as a hymn at Celia and David's wedding all those years ago. And I'll be reading it from the Bible that Celia was presented with at her naturalization ceremony in 1982 by the Council of Ku-ring-gai, if you can believe it. Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. For thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Thank you so much, Sammy, for our reading today. I'd like to invite Hannah and Harry to come forward. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Harry, the son of Sean, and this is Hannah, the daughter. We've just written a poem, so there may be a few spelling mistakes, so bear with us.
Couple of pages long. A devoted mum, a thoughtful granny, a true friend, and a loving wife. We're here to celebrate her special life.
Ambitious, wise and caring. Some moments and special memories we'll be sharing.
Our granny, who was beautiful on the inside and out, liked to use a proper voice and not to shout.
Styled up and dressed to perfection, her wardrobe filled with a wild selection. But I have no new clothes to wear.
As she books in an appointment to style her hair.
Working all those numbers at such a young age, she would save and invest her weekly wage.
Conquering the world with her partner in crime, never ever late and always on time.
With her posh English accent and strong English roots, she wasn't afraid to tell Grandpa, "Go on, scoot."
Bossing him around when he was out of line, we all know she was the backbone and the spine.
The experiences she lived and the stories she told, it was well known that she didn't like the cold.
So she decided to move to North Bondi to avoid the frost and soak in the sunshine.
One day she thought, this isn't the view for me. So she and Grandpa moved to Glen Eagles Avenue.
This is the place where she raised her 3 wonderful children and was often found at Killara Golf Club during the peak season.
Strict yet devoted towards her firstborn, Sean was deeply loved, but at times Granny was well worn.
She was considerate, thoughtful and firm. Her beautiful daughter Sally was never a concern.
She always had a soft spot for the youngest, the baby, loving and caring for Simon on the daily.
We write this poem thinking of her, a loving, kind grandmother you were.
She fed us well, she made us strong. She taught us to know what is right and what is wrong.
She knew the value of family and friends and was very generous in the birthday cards she would send.
She gave us life, she gave us love. Please watch over us from above.
Granny, hold us in your heart as we hold you in ours. And not to worry, we'll water the garden and the flowers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hannah and Harry, for our lovely poem today. Family and friends, the time has come for you all just to pause and reflect and think about your times that you've spent with Celia. Whether you love her as mum or Granny Seal, you'll all have your own memories. They'll all be a little bit different. Sean has put together a lovely visual tribute today for you all to watch and think about Celia. Thank you.
I'm David Ascroft, and I'm the husband of Celia, and Celia is the reason why you're here today. We're all very unhappy about the situation, but that's how life goes, and that's how we'll be able to provide a few reminiscences of Celia's life and our marriage of 67 years. Celia was born in Loughborough, in Leicestershire, in England. Celia had two sisters, Eileen and Gwen. Celia's father was called Sidney Bland, and her mother was Lillian Bland. They lived in a very pleasant area of Loughborough, adjacent to the railway line. Sidney worked at an industrial organisation. Her mother was a very hard worker and a delightful lady to know. In Loughborough College, predominantly a male university, we had to ship busloads of ladies from other colleges around to the weekly dance. I met Celia as a result of one of these dances. All the ladies would line up on one side of the hall and all the men on the other side, and when the music started, we would all converge across the aisle to pick the lady that you'd chosen well in advance. Unfortunately, on one occasion I was able to pick her first, and we spent some time together. Celia worked at the Lloyd's Bank. She had a magnificent office overlooking the marketplace in Lloyd's Bank, and I used to go outside and stand on this corner of the street and wave to her. She waved back, and as a result of that, we got to know each other a little better. There were times when we would go out to the cinema. We had two levels in the Odeon cinema. There was a balcony and stalls. In the balcony, there were seats at the back. There were double seats. And, of course, these were always taken up very quickly by couples who wanted to have a bit of a snug in the seats. We'd been sort of dating each other for quite some time, and I suggested that we go down to the meadow. She said, "What are we coming down here for?" I said, "Oh, no, we're just going to have a little walk along the riverbank." Eventually, I sat down on a seat and proposed to her. Of course, she was shocked and delighted, and that was the start of our relationship. The point about the wedding is that I didn't have many friends at Loughborough. She only had a few girlfriends, and so it was a very small wedding, but nicely presented. You'll see that she looks very, very pretty in her wedding dress, and her mother and father are on one side, and he's got a bald head, and my mother and father on the other side, and my mother had her mink coat on. A mink coat is unheard of today, and I've still got to do the wardrobe. On our honeymoon, we went skiing in Innsbruck. Celia had never skied before, and after the first day she was black and blue with bruises. Between you and me, I think I was the black sheep of the family, and they didn't really know what to do with me. My sister, Margaret, recommended I work at Slazenger's. Part of that was the opportunity of travelling overseas to another country. We chose Australia. Celia was quite excited about travelling to Australia, as was I. And then we spent the next 5 weeks on the ship. We were given an opportunity by Slazenger's in Australia to have a flat in North Bondi. That's where our son, Sean, spent his first 3 years of his life on the beach. We'd done very well, and we decided to have a trip back to England. And that's where Sally was born. We then moved on from there to Adelaide. Simon was born. So we then had the 3 children, Sean, Sally and Simon. We went to an auction at the Lara Golf Club. For some strange reason, they had a lot of land and they decided to sell all this land. I bid for the first release of 8 blocks on the golf course side without even getting a look in. I then decided to bid for the next block on the other side of the road from the golf course. I missed the first bid, I missed the second bid, and got the third bid. And then I said to Celia, let's go and see what we've just bought. We had an architect that gave us some plans on this magnificent house. And I said to him, can we really get that house for the money we're talking about? He said, yes. So we gave him the okay to go ahead. I spent a lot of time away from home. I had changed businesses on several occasions, and it was always Celia had to suffer. And although it was hard for her, she spent a lot of her life with our children and raised them tremendously well. After Celia had brought the children up, she decided to get a job. She got a job with a friend of mine called Freddie Elderton, with whom I'd sold insurance. Celia was always number one and she ran the show. Did a great job. The biggest attraction I had about Celia was she was a very pretty young lady, and as we grew up she became prettier still. And we would go out to dinner parties or functions of that nature, and she was invariably the star of the show. One of the most amazing things about our relationship was Celia was always such a lovely person to come home to. She was always available to do the things I wanted to do. She was unselfish in that respect. And so that's the reason why she was very popular with a lot of people. Over the next 10 years, we were blessed to grow our family in Australia with 6 lovely grandchildren. Celia was a wonderful mother who grew beautifully into the role of grandmother with the same type of characteristics. She was always there and loved spending time, whether at birthday parties or sports games or picnics. The last 12 months, Celia began really showing signs of the dementia. And as this got worse, it became more and more difficult. She spent a lot of time in hospital and aged care. I was always convinced that somehow we would be able to overcome the dementia and she would be able to come home and live with me and Sophie. But everything seemed to be working against it. Celia and I were married for 67 years. I can honestly say, if I had the chance once more, I wouldn't hesitate getting married with Celia again. Celia and I had a wonderful life together. I'll miss her very much.
Thank you so much, Sean and David, for a beautiful tribute today. Family and friends, everybody's lives here today have been touched in some way by having known and loved Celia over the years. Every thought, every decision, every action comes from our loved ones, because love does leave an indelible handprint on all of our hearts. The time has come to say your farewells to Celia, who has reached the end of her journey here. But with a smile, remember her gorgeous smile and her laughter, and with gratitude acknowledge her lovely spirit and thank her for sharing in all of your lives. Surround yourself with beautiful, positive memories. When our loved ones do pass away, we feel them in lots of very special ways, through family and friends that they've always cared about, dreams they may have left behind, words of wisdom you'll always carry with you, the love and joy that has been brought into your lives. When someone's in your heart, that is where they always remain, with the sharing of those lovely stories. Some people just can't help making a difference to your lives. Just by being who they are, they make the world a little bit warmer. Family and friends, for those that are able, may I ask you to be upstanding with me, please. Our lovely family would like to thank you all for coming today and showing such love and kindness at a difficult time. You're warmly welcome to join our family today for light refreshments and to continue to share your lovely memories at Kalara Golf Club. As our ceremony concludes today, we leave Celia with dignity, love and respect. We have a beautiful song, Time to Say Goodbye. Thank you.
Sogno l'orizzonte, mancano le parole. Sì, lo so che luce in una stanza quando manca il sole. Se non ci sei tu con me, sì. Le finestre mostrar tutto il mio cuore che è acceso. Chiudi dentro me la luce che ha incontrato per strada. Time to say goodbye. Paesi che non ho mai veduto e vissuto con te. Adesso sì li vivrò con te. Partirò sulla vita per mari che io lo so, non esistono più. It's time to say goodbye.
Quando sei lontana sogno all'orizzonte, manca le parole. E io sì lo so che sei con me.